Hey everyone, welcome back to another little episode of Cooking More with Less. I just wanted to come home and cook right away. I am so hungry, and what we're going to do today is just make a really simple vegetable lasagna. What's different about this, especially for people that are strict vegans, I need a little fat in my life. I need a little lipids, especially like after our moon cycle. For me specifically, I love working out. I enjoy being as fit as possible, but I do want to keep a little chunk and a little goodness in my body. So this is going to not be a totally vegan, cheese-free lasagna. I do like a little richness, and of course some real cheese always does the trick. So what I went ahead and did already before I just got everything ready was I just cut up a little bit of mozzarella, part skim. You can use part skim. What's really great to remember is that try not to buy all the prepaid, shredded, pre-cut vegetables because they're a little bit more pricey. And if you are, just try to, be aware and save a little buck here and there. It doesn't take too long, just about 5 minutes while you're preparing the noodles. Definitely make the whole box if you have a family of 4 or a family of even 3, you want some leftovers. Make a whole box of the lasagna. Make sure you time your noodles. I think one thing that usually goes wrong when people make lasagna is that the noodles get way too mushy and way too soft. You want to keep them at a nice little al dente so that when you throw them in the oven, they don't get too moist and mushy. So we already did that. They're behind me. One way that you can kind of save time on lasagna is after you boil the noodles for 10 minutes. Try to time your noodles because they will get mushy. Once you boil them for 10 minutes, lay out some paper towel on the countertop, and you're gonna go ahead and put your noodles on that countertop. I'm moving this little calendar to make sure it doesn't blow. So basically, once that's done, like most of the work is done once you boil the noodles and you cut all your vegetables. So I went ahead and I cut a half of onion just so that we can flavor our sauce, because the sauce I'm going to use, just make sure, for me, I make sure that whatever sauce I buy that's on sale doesn't have corn syrup in it and doesn't have like canola oil or soybean oil. Those are the things I usually stay away from, but this is just regular. If you're not making a sauce from scratch, which is delicious, but it can take a little bit longer, just make sure that it doesn't have all that other garbage in it. So this has just got tomato puree, garlic powder, onion powder, spices, and I'm going to go ahead and doctor this up with some garlic, some onion, and I only bought 2 vegetables today, some mushrooms and some zucchini. You want to go ahead and cut up 2 zucchinis. I know everybody knows what they look like, but you never know. You never know. These are the zucchinis. They come in a pack of 3, Publix, Walgreens, Pathmark, whatever those stores that you frequent. And you want to cut 2 of them up. I like my lasagna to have a plethora of vegetables in it, or to be kind of chunky. So you want to go ahead and cut 2 of those up, which I already did. And I already cut up a box of mushrooms. I usually use brown, but today the white were on sale. So I went ahead and got what my budget could afford. And cut them up, pre-cut them so that when you're ready to make your sauce, everything is done. I've got my pot, a pretty large pot. I'm just going to throw some extra virgin olive oil. And I get 2 kinds of olive oil. They now have like olive oil, extra virgin, cold pressed. You want to get the one that's for sauteing and sauces, because it does heat a little bit easier. It's a little bit nicer on your pan. So I'm going to go ahead and just coax my pan with some olive oil. You can be pretty gingerly because you're going to go ahead and fry up all those veggies. So because I don't want to move my camera and it's kind of annoying, but I'm not going to let that deter me from making it. I'm sorry that you can't see everything that I'm doing blow by blow, but I'll pick up the camera and show you what it looks like after it's sauteing. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my heat on medium. Low medium is perfect. Well, I just say medium. Medium is perfect. We're going to bring it down to a low when we're simmering the sauce and the veggies. So I'm going to let that warm up for a second, and I'm going to pretty much get started. What I'm going to do is, what you want to do is prepare your garlic, because you want that sauce to be as flavorful as possible, and it's going to be delicious. So you're gonna cut up about 4 to 5 cloves of garlic, the onion, the mushrooms, and the zucchini. All my vegetables are already pre-cut, as we said. Then I'm gonna go ahead and open this can up and throw it in there. And the sauce is pretty much like, you know, the base of everything that you make. So you wanna make sure that you give it a little time to simmer, and you go ahead and flavor it with your seasonings. So my stuff is on. Now what was interesting about even in getting my my pan and everything ready, what was funny is that my aluminum, I don't know if this happens to anybody, but my aluminum was going askew. It wasn't rolling on its full disc, which is quite annoying. So I just cut the pieces as is, and I'm gonna go ahead and lay that out the way it is. Sometimes you don't get perfection, but that doesn't mean that you stop doing what you're doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw my garlic in the pan. I'm gonna throw all these veggies. You do sometimes want to do your onion and garlic first, but because I'm gonna simmer everything together, I'm not even gonna waste time. I'm throwing everything in the pan, and I'm gonna start to just get these nice and seasoned and marinated. So you might notice once you do start, I brought it out already. Once you do start, you'll notice if you need any extra olive oil, you want your veggies to be pretty coated with olive oil. So I'm gonna go ahead and start tossing this around, and this shouldn't take too long. What I'm gonna do right away is add my salt, my pepper, and some basil. Really simple seasonings. Actually gonna use regular black pepper, some garlic, some onion, and some basil. And you're gonna go ahead and just gingerly shake that on top of all of your veggies. Just do a nice shake, coax everything. It's not really, ooh, that was my spatula. It's not really rocket science. You just wanna really, season your veggies so that when you throw that sauce in on top, it starts to really just pick up the flavors that are already in the pan. So I just added some pepper. I'm gonna add some basil. And what's nice is fresh basil, but I didn't get fresh basil today, so I'm gonna go ahead and use what I have, which is just regular basil. I'm gonna go ahead and wash this off. And that's the great thing about cooking. Sometimes, funny thing is, we do call lasagna pizza cake in our house because Amor loves lasagna, and I'm a strong believer in just like introducing our children as well as your palate to as much as possible without going over the top. So I don't do chicken, I don't do turkey, I don't do beef, I don't do pork, I don't do any type of meat other than fish. But strict vegetarians would consider a pescatarian a meat eater. But because I work out, I don't really want my muscles and my bones to suffer. So I'm pretty liberal at this point in my life. I think back in the day, I was a lot more stringent. And again, remember, if you're doing your little apple cider shots a day, which is just to make sure that your mucus levels stay kind of chill and you don't really build up too much mucoids in your system, it's okay to kind of like have fun once in a while. Especially like once a month, once every 2 months, switch it up a little bit. And then your children will be able to like have a slice of pizza without going into anaphylactic shock. The wrong term, but you get where I'm going with it. You just want to be able to enjoy life. And there's nothing like a good lasagna with a little fresh mozzarella and a little bit of ricotta. I did get some part skin ricotta, so we're going to go ahead and use that as well. So what I'm going to do is grab my nice little mittens. Here they are. And I'm going to show you just how much seasoning and how this starts to look. So it's basically like so. You can see that everything is pretty much coated. All my vegetables are already softening. So once you do that for about 5 to 7 minutes, you're going to go ahead and add the sauce. I already opened the sauce up, and we're going to throw the sauce on top of all this goodness. So you know what? Instead of talking your guys' ears off, we're just letting this marinate for 5 minutes, and I'll come right back and pick up where we left off. Okie dokie, we are back, and I took about 10 minutes, 12 minutes to just let the sauce simmer. I did cook down the vegetables for a couple more minutes, 5, 10 tops. This is what it's starting to look like. I don't know if you can see it. I think we can. But basically, beautiful, nice, rich color. Definitely add a little bit more salt, basil, your oregano, your garlic, and your onion powder. And let that do its thing. What we're gonna do now is basically get our pan ready and just start to put everything together. That's pretty much the secret with lasagna, I believe, is just not overcooking your noodles and making sure that you make your sauce personable to you. You make it taste the way you want it to. So if you do like oregano, it's a pretty, it's a beautiful spice. But I know a lot of people that don't like spices in their food. I don't know why, but some people can taste like, oh, it's got oregano in it. I love oregano, I love basil, I love all that stuff. So what I'm gonna do is just make a little room right here on the side. And what you wanna do is lay some olive oil down in your pan so that the noodles don't stick when they're cooking in the oven. That's another great little tidbit, is you don't want your noodles to stick on the side or on the bottom. So we're gonna go ahead and start to just layer this already. Our sauce is pretty much done. And what you wanna make sure you're doing is just kind of overlapping each noodle. It's not rocket science. People totally know how to do this. But what they do forget is just how to sometimes save a little bit. I'd rather spend money on the paper towel to make sure that my noodles don't stick. It sounds weird, but it's true. I'd rather spend money on the paper towel than on like a Prego or a pre-made sauce, when you can pretty much make your own sauce with just the basics. You don't really need a lot at all. You want to go ahead and preheat your oven to 375 and just start to lay everything down. So that is what we are going to do. We are going to lay our sauce in the pan and then start to just pretty much put everything together. So as you can see, just make sure, I like using a spoon just so that I can get all that goodness in there. And you just cover all the bases, cover all the corners so that it doesn't, like burn on the sides and get too cookie, if that's a word. You don't want to overcook your noodles or let them get exposed to the heat by not just, moistening them with a little bit of sauce. So once we do that first layer, like so, you're going to basically for me, I just put a little half a cup. It's not more than a half a cup of basic ricotta. And it's not a lot, but it makes a world of difference. And if you're into flavor, go ahead and flavor your food and design it the way you want. Go jogging the day after. I am all about flavors. So there is nothing like a lasagna with a little fresh ricotta and a little fresh mozzarella. And again, you can go ahead and buy the part skim so you don't get all that extra milk fat. So once you lay the first layer down, you're going to just lay the noodles the opposite way. I have kitchen shears. I use kitchen shears for stuff in the kitchen. I don't really mix them with paper or anything else, but my kitchen shears are literally here to cut the noodle so my noodles aren't too long. So I basically cut my noodles just so that they lay across horizontally and vertically the same way. Sounds crazy, but it makes a difference when you're cutting the lasagna and when it bakes, so that they're nice and perfect. So that's what I use my little kitchen shears for, my cooking scissors. And the first layer, I didn't throw the mozzarella down. I do the mozzarella towards the end, and I do stick a little bit in there. In this layer, this second layer, I'll do that. So I'm just second layering it right now. And again, just cover all your bases, cover all the good stuff. And you know, you can use eggplant. I really like Japanese eggplant, tastes delicious, but I didn't get any today. So, you know, work with what's on sale sometimes. That's what the whole purpose of this was even started for, was just to kind of remain innovative and inspired regardless of what your budget might be, and regardless of how big your kitchen is. I remember I started stuff in such a small space, and what I do pray and hope for is that one day I can be in such a beautiful kitchen and I can really, you know, just see the graduation, take it up a notch. So I'm just unveiling my second layer of noodles. Again, they're not sticking, they're coming off really, really easily because I went ahead and dried them on that paper towel. You can use foil too, but foil's a little bit more expensive, so I use paper towel. And the paper towel also absorbs the water in the, I know I sound really cheap, but I like shoes, and I like buying my kid things. So always think of ways to save money and really just spend it on what I'd rather spend it on. So I'm just going ahead and layering this section of ricotta on the dry part of the noodles, not in the sauce. And it's literally a smear. But that's all you need. See, like that? Just a little smear. Whoop, whoop. A smear of ricotta. Oops. Another layer of sauce. And it's just like that. You just keep layering and toppling everything. And then when you're done, you're done. You just throw this in the oven for about 35, 40 minutes. I'm going to take my mozzarella out and throw some on this layer. Some people put Parmesan. You know, cooking is really, it's a science of what you enjoy eating. So, you know, I always find it interesting, just really vivacious, curvy women that are like, oh, I'm 100% vegan. I'm like, where did the body come from? Is it just genetic? My gosh, everybody is not shaped like a brick house, you know? And the women that are, congratulations to you, because not all of us are made extra with a little extra. And I say that because I'm 5 foot. I'm not too big, but size does not equate spirit. So don't ever let anybody make you feel as though you've got to be something that you're not. Or more, you know. I'm just throwing and I'm cutting my noodles the way I showed you guys. Just make sure that you cut them in so you create a vertical and a horizontal feel. And when flies enter your space, that's when, I'm sorry, that was a mosquito. But when mosquitoes enter your space and flies, that's when you know you're doing something right. Because it's like, okay, nature is smelling what I'm doing. And those are all good signs that you're making good stuff. I really can't stand mosquitoes though, as you can tell. So I'm literally almost done. Get my mozzarella out. Just going to do a nice little layer in between. And I'm going to layer the last of it on top. Not a lot. This is starting to get heavy, which is a good sign that you're done. But I did ricotta on two levels, and now I'm doing mozzarella on the last two. Spread, almost like you're painting a picture. Just want to get all the corners and all the sides. And this is basically it. So I'm going to do the last little layer of noodles. My hands is feeling it. Starting to get heavy, which is good. And you see, I'm not going for perfection. I'm going to clean up my kitchen after. So you don't have to worry about, like, you know, oh my gosh, it's getting too... Yeah, it's going to get so dirty. And those are also good signs that you're doing something right. So I'm just layering the last of my noodles. And that's basically it. You don't need a meat-based sauce to have deliciousness in your life. And that's something that I think is really cool about, you know, just experimenting with flavors. I give, like, meat eaters my lasagna, and they're always like, oh my God, this is delicious. Because, you know, you don't need the extra flavor. You create the flavor with the sauce. You create the flavor with the veggies. So my sauce is getting really thin and minimal at the top, because I like going in the middle and the bottom. But I just make sure I coax, again, all of my noodles. Keep them nice and moist. Dump the last of that in there. As you can see, we are pretty much done. No rocket science. I'm going to go ahead and put that down, grab a spatula. And I'm just going to go ahead and scrape out the remainder of the sauce. See, we're done. Just going to go ahead and take all that goodness at the bottom and pour it right on top. And we are done. See it? Yummy. Yummy to the tummy. So what I'm going to do is just take the last of the mozzarella and just layer it really nicely on top of that. We didn't even use a full cup. We used a half a cup of mozzarella and not even the whole half a cup of ricotta. So what is good is that if you have a little extra left over and you want to put it on top, you can. I think I am, just because I've never done that. I've never put little droplets of ricotta on the very top. But why not? The other half of my ricotta cheese is in a nice little glass dish. Like, I save a lot of like dishes like this, even if you don't have mason jars. If you like salsa and you buy like little chip salsa, just clean out, you know, the dishes, and you can freeze the ricotta cheese so that, you know, you don't waste money. It doesn't spoil in the fridge. And, you know, you put good use to everything you have. And that literally sounds like my grandma. Don't waste anything. Use it all. So I'm very thankful, because certain days I've stretched a lot. All right. I'm going to go ahead and wipe all this down. Throw all your garbage away. Again, who does strips like this? How is it like this? It just is. It comes like this sometimes. When you get to like the bottom of your foil, it gets really weird and like you can't unroll it. It really annoys me, but I'm like, hey, I'm not wasting this. And so you go ahead, like this is what I'm talking about, you know. You go ahead and you use them though. So I'm covered and I'm ready to bake. And that's basically it, guys. You bake this for 40, I'd say like 40, a half an hour to 40 minutes. It depends on how hot your oven gets as well. My oven pretty much does the trick at 375, 350, 375. I was not paying attention, and I have a little, I have this in there, a great little pan. But I'm going to throw this glass Pyrex. Bang, bang. Boom, bam, bim. And we're off to the races. Enjoy it. Enjoy the process. Even though it takes a couple minutes, by the end you'll have some leftovers and your kids will love it. You will love it. And yeah, you can make some garlic bread if you want. I don't really do all that extra stuff because my lasagna is so rich with flavor. Yes, the boys like it, but you know, I don't need all the extra wheat flour because I have all that good dairy and I have all that goodness just from the noodles. And I'm sorry, but gluten-free noodles don't necessarily cook down the same. I have tried them and I don't like the way they taste. So I stay traditional. I stay traditional to the things that I love. And Italian, you cannot go wrong with a little bit of flavor. So enjoy the process, you guys. Love your kitchens and love each other. Peace.